Right, so Rugby Analyst Dan Retief now joins us live for a preview analyst of the quarterfinal match where the Springboks is set to play France tonight at 9 p.m. Dan, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on the SABC.
Yes, hi. I think I'm like the rest of the country. We just can't wait, but we're sitting on the edge of our chairs.
We've heard some hopeful and bold sentiments coming through from fans leading up to tonight's game. And I wonder what you're predicting, perhaps, as we look at the style and formation of play that's set to come through in tonight's game.
Well, I think it's a classic situation of an immovable obstacle hit by an irresistible force. So we have to decide, are we going to be the force or the obstacle, or the other way around? Now, if you look at the two teams, they're incredibly closely matched. The one team you would think in the World Cup that can match our formidable forwards is the French. The other thing the French have over some of the other teams is they also have a very good bench, just like we have. So we've educated the world about our bomb squad and how dangerous they are, and how we can come on with almost a new pack and win a game in the last quarter. But now the one team that is not too nervous about our bomb squad is the French, because they believe they have their own bomb squad. So very closely matched. The last three games have gone to sort of single point victories for us or for them. So I think it's going to be nuclear. It's going to be the game of the tournament. It might not be that as good as last night's All Black Ireland game, but I'm sure it's going to be entrancing.
Thank you for those sentiments, Dan. We've seen Jacques Nienaber once again defending his decision to start Manny Libbok. I wonder what your thoughts are on that, as opposed to Handré Pollard. We know that Manny is phenomenal in passes, especially as passing decisions rather on the field. But how do you see this working in tonight's crucial game?
Yes, I looked at that, and I think the general feeling was that they would start with Pollard, but they're starting with Manny Libbok. And I have a feeling that indicates that the Springboks have something up their sleeves. Rassie and Jacques Nienaber have a plan for the French. It's almost an indication that we are going to run the ball a bit, because that's what Manny Libbok's very good at. He's an outstanding pass of the ball. He takes the line on very well, and the line operates very nicely outside him, and I think his confidence is right up at the moment. He's now proved that he is a number 10. He's worthy of being a Springbok, and I get the feeling that they're planning something for the French. The French have played they haven't played typical French flamboyant rugby in the last couple of seasons. Ever since Galtier, they kick the ball a lot. They kick the ball back to you, and they say, you keep kicking it back to us, and if you make a mistake, if you don't cover the edges, we're going to run at you. But they don't take it a lot. They don't create a lot themselves. They wait for you to make mistakes. And I have a feeling that we have seen something in that kind of approach. Also, the selection of Reinach at scrum off, big, strong guy, very strong around the break. And, is that an indication that we want to take the ball to the French? And then by having Pollard later in the game, maybe we need a steady hand on the tiller. We need Faf to come in. And if it gets to a really tight finish and you have to close down the game, then you have the better kickers on the field. So, even there's another little piece of mystery that I can't wait to see unfold.
Rassie Erasmus 3 days ago rather cheekily tweeted 8 plus 0, 7 plus 1, 5 plus 3, 4 plus 4, all equals 8. And now we know they've settled on the 5-3 split on the bench. And I wonder, for those who are not privy to what that means, how that can actually work to our advantage. In the same breath, what are some of the gaps and challenges that we need to strengthen as a team as well?
Yeah, I think what Rassie has done, he tried to get the French to believe he might even go 7-1, so we would be heavy with forwards. But he's gone conventional. He's got halfbacks on the bench. He's got Billy Leroux, who's a bit of a playmaker. He's got him on the bench. So I think what he's indicating there is he's happy with the forwards he's got. He thinks the forwards can match France, and he needs more backline players. He needs creative backline players. So we're not just going to kick the ball back at them. I think the big biggest issue with this game is what France have done. France, by picking Antoine Dupont, their scrum half, who had a cheekbone injury. He apparently is going to wear a mask. I haven't seen a picture of the mask, but he is going to play. And that is a tremendous risk. I think what Fabien Galtier has done there has introduced a landmine for the Springboks, because you now have the scrum half, the captain, the home crowd watching him. They know he's been injured, and he is right in the thick of things. He's a little guy in amongst the very big guys. So they're going to be watching for that head tackle, that high tackle, and that really could explode in the Springboks' faces, because it could be completely accidental. Every game that you play, you target the other team's most influential player. Now, Dupont has been picked because he is the Rugby World Player of the Year. He is the world's most influential player. He is France's captain. But how is that going to affect the way we play France? Because we want to have a go at him. We want to take him out of the game. But with this mask and with this injury, the crowd's going to be against us, and there's going to be a lot of roaring and chirping and saying, "What did you do, you violent Springboks?" Will it put us off our stride, or will we just keep going for him? And then the other factor, of course, that leads to the referee. We've got a quartet of New Zealand referees. Ben O'Keefe, he was the guy that had us against Ireland. We were very unhappy with the end of that game. We felt the last line out, the throw hadn't been crooked, and certainly the ball was emerging from a maul where we could have scored. You could see the ball coming out. Jaco Reinach showed the referee, and Ben O'Keefe called it off. But there again, he's a Southern Hemisphere referee. Would that suit us because we're used to that kind of refereeing, or will it go against us because New Zealanders, they don't pay that much attention to the scrums? They see the scrum as a means to restart the game. The Springboks see the scrum as one of their great pieces of artillery. So it's all wrapped up in a mystery, and where it goes and how it goes. But there are all these little factors. So I must emphasize that I'm really worried about Dupont playing. I think Rugby World Cup, with their concentration on head injuries, they've gone against their own protocols by allowing a player who has a serious injury to go into a game like this. It's going to be a titanic struggle. But all that said and done, the Springboks know what they're there for. They've prepared for this. They prepared for it from 2019. They've got their most experienced squad. They have a team that has been there before. They're a very tight group of people. They're well led. And they've got tremendous rugby players right across the park. There's a horrid cliche in rugby about who wants it most,
Yes.
And I think it's not really that. It's about who's prepared to go the deepest, who's prepared to go to the darkest place. And I know the Boks can do that.
Well, Dan Retief, thank you for those sentiments and for joining us here on the SABC. Rugby Analyst Dan Retief weighing in ahead of the quarter-final match in the Rugby World Cup, where South Africa will be taking on France later tonight, in fact 9 p.m. Central African time. So we'll leave it there for now and continue to take a look at more news and updates upon our return.